Hello, I'm Graham Horton and welcome to today's video, which is all about transferring images from your digital camera to your smartphone. And in this case, I've been asked to show how to do it with an Android phone. I've done previously the transfer using the iOS device, an Apple iPhone, so I'm going to do it today using an Android phone just by way of comparison. I'm going to show you several methods of which you can transfer data from your camera to your smartphone. Now, you're probably all familiar with the Panasonic imaging app, and if you download that onto your smartphone, it allows you to transfer images from your camera to the smartphone over Wi-Fi. Now, it is a slow process. You're only using the Wi-Fi speed of the camera and your smartphone, so sort of 54 megabits per second is probably all you're going to get. So it's quite a slow transfer process. If I just show you that in operation, I'm not going to show you the whole of the imaging app. You're probably familiar with that, but I'm just going to show you how the images are transferred and the speed at which they're transferred. Now I'm going to select multiple images, so I'm going to select multi-select on the camera and then press menu set, and now it allows me to select the images that I want to transfer over to the camera. You can see now we get a tick on the images that I want to transfer. So if we've selected those three images, then I can press OK, and it says the transfer time will be 1 minute. Is that okay? Press yes, and you can see that we're now sending the images over from the camera via Wi-Fi directly to the camera. We're not using the internal router of the house, we're using a direct connection from the camera to the smartphone. So those three images, which are full-size JPEG images, probably 5 megabytes each, can transferred in about 20 seconds. So it's registering the received pictures, and they are now at the bottom of my gallery that I've selected here. So that's the Wi-Fi transfer. Quite a slow process. If you've got, say, 40 or 50 images to transfer, you're going to have to wait for quite a long time to transfer those images over Wi-Fi. What I want to show you now are some other methods of which you can transfer from the camera to your smartphone, but not using Wi-Fi. First method I want to show you is to use an external SD card reader plugged into your smartphone. So in this case, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra works with all the other Samsung Galaxy phones and with all the Android phones. So this one is a USB-C to match the USB-C port on the smartphone, and it's just an SD card reader and a micro SD card reader. This one has got a pass-through, so you can actually use other peripherals or charge the phone at the same time as you're using the transfer. So straightforward USB-C card reader, just plugs into the USB slot on your smartphone. So it's plugged into the smartphone, and then you take out the SD card from your camera. This is a standard SD card, just plugs into the reader like so. So it's now connected through the camera via this USB-C link. And the first thing we'll check is to make sure that it is actually connected. So if we scroll down, and you can see there charging via USB, just tap for other USB options. Let's get rid of this, and you can see that USB is controlled by connected device and transfers files automatically. So that's how we've got the camera set up. So to actually transfer the files over from the SD card, bit convoluted, but I'll show you how to do it. Just move that out of the way. We need to go into the Samsung folder here, and we've got My Files. Click My Files, and you should see in here a list of the devices which are connected. So internal storage, OneDrive, Google Drive, network, recycle bin, etc. But we haven't got the SD card, so I'm going to unplug this and then plug it back in again. And it's not seeing that, so let me just unplug this back and plug it in again. You can now see the USB storage has appeared in the list. I don't think my plug was inserted correctly because of the case I've got on this phone. So here we can see USB storage now as one of the options. So if we tap that, you can see we've got the structure of the SD card. So we've got DCIM, miscellaneous and private, where your AVCHD drive would be. So let's just touch DCIM. Again, we can now see the structure of that, and we can see we've got the 110_panner directory, which will contain the images that I've just shot with the camera. So you can see we've got 5 images there, and we can see the size of the images. So to transfer those over to the phone, we need to just move this out of the way again. If I just tap the 3 dots at the top there, it will bring up a submenu, and the one we want to touch is edit. So if we click edit, it allows us now to select the images that we want to transfer. Well, I don't want to transfer that one because it's a dark image, so I want this one, this one, this one and this one. So we've got 4 images selected. So you can see we've got USB storage, DCIM and the directory. Now we can either move them, which will copy them from the SD card and then delete them from the SD card, or we can use the copy facility. So I'm going to use copy, so that means I can keep the original files on the SD card if I want to use them at a later date. So we're going to select copy, and it asks us where do we want to copy them to. So we're going to copy them to the internal storage. So we will then use the back arrow and the back arrow and the back arrow, and you can see now we've got internal storage. So I'm going to select internal storage, and then you can see the folders that I've got set up on the camera. So we're going to use the pictures folder, so I'm going to transfer them to the pictures folder. We've already can see the images we've already got in there, but I'm asking it to copy them to this folder. So internal storage, pictures, copy here. You can see that transfer took about 3 seconds to transfer those 3 files over, which were 5.4 megabytes each. Much faster than Wi-Fi, and with Wi-Fi you've always got the fuss about interconnected each time. You get Wi-Fi dropouts, corrupted files. So this is a much easier method than using Wi-Fi directly. So that is the first method. We're using the SD card reader plugged into the smartphone. I want to show you another method which will now allow you to use again the camera directly rather than using the SD card reader. So for the second method, we're going to use what's called an on-the-go or OTG cable, which will plug you into the smartphone, and on the other end we've got a standard USB-A connector. That allows us to use a connecting cable which is USB-A to micro USB, which will plug directly into the camera, so we can use a direct connection from the camera to the smartphone over the OTG cable. These are available on Amazon, and I'll put a link to them in the video description below if you want to buy your own OTG cable. So first of all, we'll plug the OTG into the smartphone itself. So again, that just plugs into that USB-C socket at the bottom, and now I can plug the USB-A into the USB-A of the connector, and now I can plug this into the micro USB port of the Panasonic camera. In this case it's the Panasonic Lumix FZ8082 camera, so this will just plug directly into the USB socket of the camera. So what I need to do now is just turn on the camera. So I bring the camera up here, I'll turn it on. You notice you get this message to begin charging, turn off the camera, because the camera is actually providing a 5V output, and we could charge the camera with that if we wanted to, but we want to select PicBridge. So if we got PicBridge selected, when I press menu set, it will start a process and it opens up what's called Camera Importer, and the Camera Importer now allows you to see the images on the card in the camera. So if I look at the date here, these are the images I shot today, so I'm going to select those images there, and then when I want to transfer them I just touch import on the Camera Importer. So when I touch that, it will import those images directly from the camera over the USB link, and it's as simple as that. So now those images have now appeared on the photos folder in the smartphone. If we go into the gallery, So you can see the images that have been transferred across today appear now in the gallery. So that's a much easier way. It's using your existing cable that you get with the Panasonic Lumix cameras. So if you're using the FZ8082, you've got the proprietary cable there, but it's got the USB-A on it. Standard cable on the Panasonic Lumix FZ8082. But there's another way of doing it, and that doesn't mean that you have to employ the OTG cable. And again, it's only about £6 in the UK, a cable that's available from Amazon. It's the Amazon Basic cable, and this one is a USB-C to micro cable which has got OTG built in, so it's all in one cable, and it's only about £6, so it's much cheaper to do. So it's the same process. Let me cancel everything from here, close everything down. I'll turn off the camera again, unplug the OTG cable, and in this case we'll just plug in this cable from Amazon into the camera. So again, the USB-C cable will plug into the base of the smartphone, and the micro USB will plug into the micro USB socket of the camera. So that was just plug in there. So you can see, as before, we have got the smartphone providing a charging voltage for the FZ82. So when we turn on the FZ82, we'll get the same message: to begin charging, turn the camera off. But in this case, we just wait that 10 seconds, select the USB mode, and again just select Pick Bridge, press menu set, and again it will now directly open up the camera importer to allow you to select the images from the SD card that's in the camera, and you want to select them. So I'm going to go down a little bit and pick up some images that are on this folder from a little previous. So let's just select quite a few, and then again you would just touch import to import those across. So there's 8 files coming across, which are full 5.6 megabytes. So you can see they were transferred directly to the camera. And if we go into the gallery again, you can see under today the images now are being assembled for you in the gallery. So those images have been imported directly from the camera over the Amazon cable to the smartphone. So that was using the Panasonic Lumix cameras. It's the same with any other camera. So I've got here the Canon PowerShot G7X Mark III. This one has got a USB-C port on it, and we can now use the on-the-go cable for the Samsung. So let me plug that in there, and we'll now use a USB-C to USB-A. So I'm going to plug this into the camera. So that's the USB-C and now the USB-A plugged into the on-the-go. I'm going to turn on the camera, and you can see the camera importer has again started up directly, and you can now see the files that are on the SD card in the camera. So again, these are the ones we just shot, so I'm going to import them again, and it'll overwrite the images that are already on the gallery. So those are the files being transferred across now from the Canon camera. And if we go back into the gallery, you can see that the files are being transferred, and we've got the duplicates here in the gallery. So that's how you would transfer from a camera with a USB-C port using the on-the-go cable. Well, again, to transfer the images from that Canon camera over to the Samsung Galaxy, I needed to use that OTG cable because it's got the host adapter in there which allows that transfer. You can't use a direct USB-C to USB-C from the camera to the smartphone. It won't work because you need the host facility, which is built into the plug on the OTG cable. So again, just use your OTG cable, plug that into your smartphone, and then you plug the USB-C into your camera, and the OTG will bring up Camera Importer, which is a feature in the Samsung Galaxy camera and with all the other Android phones. So that's how you would transfer your images from a Canon camera using USB-C, again using the OTG cable to allow the transfer to take place. Demonstrated it using the Samsung Galaxy, but it will work with all other Android tablets and smartphones. Just use the OTG cable to allow you to transfer the files across. If you've got an older smartphone which doesn't have the USB-C port on it, it has a micro USB, then you can get a micro USB on-the-go cable adapter, again from Amazon. I'll put links to that in the video description below. So it converts from micro USB to standard Type A with the OTG host in the socket there. So that's the standard Type C, and this is the micro USB. Both types of adapter for different types of smartphone. So there are some methods by which you can transfer files from your camera directly to your smartphone, either using the on-the-go cable or using the direct connection with a direct on-the-go cable rather than using the Type A adapter. But I'll put links to all those adapters in the video description below, and in my newsletter, which will be out in the middle of May, there'll be a full write-up on this process anyway if you wanted to follow along. So if you're not already subscribed to my newsletter, have a look at my photographic blog. In the download section you'll find the application form to join the newsletter group. Well, thanks very much for watching, and if you're a new viewer and you like this presentation and the ideas I come up with, why not subscribe to the channel, as you'll then be notified when I upload new videos to the series. So until then, thanks again for watching, please do take care, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye for now.